Metal, purified earths, and the greatest music genre. Today we have two combatants who can manipulate the former, but not the latter. Sorry, Nathan. Toph Beifong, the original granny of metal bending, faces Magneto, the mutant master of magnetism. In this episode, we will be looking at the movie incarnation of Magneto. Toph will be a gestalt version of herself, which means the best feats of her child self, adult self, and elderly self will be used, similar to the gestalt class in D&D, the best of both classes. Magneto will have his armor, however Toph will not start with any gear. Toph was born blind to the noble Beifong family. During her childhood, she learned to manipulate earth and feel vibrations in the earth from badger moles who shared her blindness. Later, she would have the honor of teaching the Avatar how to earthbend. Or was it the Avatar's honor to learn under Toph's tutelage? After discovering the thought-to-be impossible ability to manipulate metal, and the defeat of Firelord Ozai, Toph would found an academy dedicated to teaching metal bending, and later a police force of metal benders. After serving as police chief, Toph would retire to the swamp and later tutor another Avatar. Magneto was born Eric Lenscher. During his childhood, he would be placed in a concentration camp during the Holocaust. This is where Eric would develop his mutant powers of magnetism and ferrokinesis. In his adulthood, Magneto would lead a mutant supremacist movement to rid the world of non-mutants. While Toph is capable of manipulating metal, she is not manipulating the metal itself, but rather the earthly impurities in the metal. This prevents her from manipulating certain metals such as platinum that have low impurities. Regardless, Toph is a powerful metal bender as she was able to prevent the collapse of a mine using metal bending. She has the finesse to rip a hole in a metal wall and repair it to its previous state. Toph can sense trace amounts of metal in people, such as when Korra was carrying copious amounts of mercury in her body. Magneto's ability to manipulate metal lies at the atomic level. Magneto can create constructs out of metal. Magneto has been able to lift an entire stadium with some focus. His ability to manipulate metal is so acute, he can manipulate a person using just the trace amounts of iron in a person's bloodstream. To give you an idea of how extreme that is, the average person has 3 to 4 grams of iron in their body, and the average person is about 70 to 80 kilograms. So less than 1% of 1%. In ferrokinesis, I give a dominating edge to Magneto, as he would win a tug of war with Toph. Toph is regarded as not only the best metal bender of her world, but also the greatest earthbender. She can manipulate various forms of earth including rocks, sand, and even mud. Toph uses earth to pummel or trap opponents. Her greatest feat of earthbending is holding up the sinking tower of Wan Shi Tong's library. Magneto can manipulate the attractive forces of magnetism. This ability is what allows Magneto to casually levitate. Using this ability, he has caused bullets to follow people. Overall, I give a solid edge in miscellaneous powers to Toph, as she brings more lethality in this category than Magneto. Toph can use metal or earth to create weapons suited for melee. She is also skilled in the martial art of Mantis style. Magneto has been shown to defeat foes in hand-to-hand combat and seems to be proficient in a martial art style. However, this is neither combatant's preferred range. A slight edge in melee goes to Toph for rock gauntlets. To defend herself, Toph can create earth or metal constructs like walls or armor. Toph's seismic sense allows her to track opponents' movements on the ground, making it difficult to sneak up on her. Magneto, on the other hand, has armor, including a helm that blocks telepathic attacks. Like Toph, Magneto can create metal constructs to block attacks. Magneto is capable of avoiding attacks by levitating as well. I give a minor edge to Magneto as he brings evasion, soaking, and blocking to defense. Even as a child, Toph was above average in physical capabilities, so it would make sense that as an adult, Toph would probably have kept her above average physique, albeit scaled for an adult. On the other hand, Magneto is about average physique for a middle-aged man. His best physical feats are far behind him. While he is able to keep up with Wolverine, who possesses superhuman speed and reflexes, it is possible this may be Magneto's ferrokinesis doing the work for him. It's pretty clear here Toph gets a major edge. Toph is trained in the Mantis-style martial art which focuses on delivering precise strikes. Toph is not known for her strategy and tactics, but instead her stubbornness in combat, and knowing when to strike. Also, she has over 80 years of experience. Magneto, like Toph, possesses an unbreakable will, but unlike her, Magneto is a genius. However, Magneto suffers from arrogance, tending to underestimate foes. I give a major edge in mental factors to Magneto for his genius intellect. In terms of metal manipulation, Magneto received the edge, while in other powers, Toph has the edge. In melee combat, Toph got the edge. Magneto inched out in defenses. Toph has the superior physique, while Magneto has the edge in intelligence. The question remains, who would win? The most even ground for Toph and Magneto would be an urban area, plenty of concrete and metal objects for them to use. The fight would start outside of a bank in Republic City that Magneto happens to be robbing. Toph also just happens to be patrolling that area. Toph would order Magneto to stop, but Magneto would scoff at the suggestion. Toph then begins to crush Magneto in his own armor. However, Magneto manipulates his armor and prevents Toph from bending the armor. Magneto laughs and arrogantly gives Toph another opportunity to attack. Toph hurls a chunk of concrete Magneto's way, but Magneto slices the projectile with a stray street meter, causing the boulder to split, missing him. Magneto tosses the street meter at Toph, but she sidesteps and earthbends another chunk of concrete towards Magneto. Magneto dodges it by flying towards Toph and punches her. Toph takes the hit with some difficulty and retaliates as Magneto lands on the ground. The two begin trading blows, but Toph has the upper hand. Frustrated, Magneto throws Toph aside using the metal in her bloodstream, and begins levitating to gain a high ground advantage. Magneto observes Toph's movements as she gets up. Toph surrounds herself in rock armor and waits for Magneto, unable to sense him. As the two wait, it dawns on Magneto that Toph may be blind to things not in the air. Magneto shapes a piece of his armor into a large spike and hurls it towards Toph. The metal spike penetrates the stone armor as well as Toph's skull, piercing her brain. The rock armor drops down and Toph falls. Magneto repairs his armor and laughs while the metal-bending police force stares in horror. Yes, feed me your rage. I mean, let's take a look at what happened here. While Toph is the more competent fighter, it is Magneto's mastery over metal and his intelligence that wins. Magneto's ability to manipulate metal dwarfs Toph's, meaning that any metal-related technique Toph uses Magneto could easily counter. Using his genius intellect, Magneto would figure out Toph is blind to anything not touching the ground and develop a plan to assassinate her. Especially considering levitation is his primary defense. But wait, didn't Death Battle say Toph can see earth and metal not touching the ground? Yes, that was according to a DVD extra. And according to another DVD extra, lava bending is an avatar-only ability, so Gazan and Bolin are avatars. No, Toph's seismic sense is inconsistent with objects not touching the ground, which makes sense because even the creators have admitted to forgetting Toph was blind at times. In the end, it was welcome to die for Toph, 610 out of 1,000 times. Now, what about comic Magneto? Well, let's see here. He's arguably supersonic, possesses barriers that can tank hits from planet busters. Toph ain't getting through those shields anytime soon. Also, here's Magneto earthbending. Comic Magneto would not lose a single match against Toph. On the next episode of Avatar Versus, we go to alternate history as Team Avatar frees Zahir from prison to take down Kuvira. Will it work? We'll find out in the next episode. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button and share this video. If you have a suggestion for a future episode, leave a comment below because your suggestion may become an episode in the future.